Okay, so we're here. We have our second session of our second round together, and I'm so excited that we're focusing on the mental health and self-care aspect of our journey, of our healing. It's so important that we recognize why we need to prioritize self-care and how it does influence and impact our mental health. So welcome, I am Hannah. If you haven't met me before, I am a divine healer, a yoga teacher, a spiritual life coach, as well as a chronic illness and disease warrior. And the reason why I felt so honored to, work with Hope for Stomach Cancer, as well as the Stomach Cancer Sisters, and shout out to our beautiful Angel Abby for, bringing me along this journey, is because when I was going through a lot of my when I was first diagnosed with a few of my illnesses, I wasn't given support. And what I mean by that is no one asked how my mental health was. No one asked how I was dealing with the stress of everything. I wasn't referred to a counselor or a healer or a coach or a therapist. And I really had to figure things out on my own. And so I created this mental health and wellness program for Hope with Stomach Cancer and for the Stomach Cancer Sisters, so I could provide what I wish I had, 12 years ago when I was first diagnosed with one of my chronic diseases. And so it's been an honor and a privilege to be able to share my knowledge and my wisdom. Of course, my background is in addictions counseling. That's where I did all my certifications and my trainings. And then I started my own business, and it's been almost 2 years of running Healing with Hannah, and it's been an absolute dream. So thank you for being here, and thank you for trusting me. I really do appreciate it. So just so you know what we're covering today, we're going to talk a little bit about mental health and self-care very quickly. I'm going to touch on the different types of self-care, at least the ones that I try to focus on, and that I have been helping my clients and my family and my friends do for the last few years. We're going to do some journal prompts and reflections together, and just really support each other, hold each other accountable, as well as ending with an inner child meditation, because I do truly believe that our inner child deserves to be nourished, connected with, and supported, every day if we can, but, as much as we can. So what the heck are we doing here? We're here to talk about mental health and self-care. And so mental health, is really an integrative part of our healing processes. It encompasses not only our mental health, but our emotional, our psychological, and our social well-being. And our mental health really does affect how we go about our daily lives, how we handle stress, how we make choices, how we show up in relationships, how we show up for ourselves. And wellness is a huge part of that. So when we prioritize our healing and our self-care, we're able to tend to our needs while still being able to show up and hold space for others. And that's kind of like a jumble of a bunch of definitions. It's really how I view mental health. And I think it's really powerful. And then, of course, self-care is the practice of taking action to preserve or improve our health, and the practice of taking an active role in protecting our own well-being and our happiness, especially during times of stress, which, when you're on your cancer journey, whether you're actively going through treatment, waiting surgery, in remission, it can be very stressful. And I really wanted to say active role because I do believe that so many of us are passive with our healing journeys because we haven't been taught to be active participants in our own healing, and we haven't been necessarily guided and supported in doing so. So, just by being here, whether you're here with us live or you're watching the recording, you are really an active participant in your healing, and it's so inspiring. So thank you for being here for you. So the 4 types of self-care we're going to go over are emotional, physical, spiritual, and then it says workplace, but I mean, I was a typo, it's just say workplace / educational. So really depending where you are in your journey, if you're in university, you're working, the type of self-care for both can really go hand in hand. So what is emotional self-care? Emotional self-care is caring for your emotional needs by identifying what you're feeling and then moving forward in a way that honors yourself and those emotions. And so emotional self-care, I think, is like the pivotal point when it comes to self-care. A lot of us are taught not to be with our emotions. You know, maybe growing up crying or getting angry or whatever, having a temper tantrum wasn't supported. And so what that does for us as kids is it causes us to shut down and should have shut out those feelings. But sadness and anger and frustration and annoyance and whatever else are all very valid. So by identifying what you're feeling and giving yourself permission to feel it is so powerful, and it's actually going to benefit you in the long run, because when we don't tend to our emotions, when we don't give ourselves permission to feel our emotions, they can manifest in the body as physical ailments, mental ailments, sickness, disease, the list goes on. And of course, if you're like, oh my gosh, I need to know more about this, what the heck? I do have on the Hope for Stomach Cancer website a session I did on exploring chakra healing, and the chakra system are the energy centers of our body. And I really go deep into what that means in that. But anyway, we're not here for that. We're here to talk about self-care. And so I wanted to just, list a couple of examples of emotional self-care, or at least like, these are things that I like to do. So spending time with people's company who I enjoy, who make me feel good, right? A good way to gauge this is if you've ever been around someone or a group of people, and when you've left, you felt really drained, right? Like you just feel tired. That's your body's way of telling you, besides everything going on with cancer treatments and your healing journey, but that's your body's way of telling you some of those people are really like energy leaks, like your energy is kind of being drained by being with them, as opposed to certain groups of people. You might feel like super bubbly and alive and full of like sunshine and happiness and joy. And that's a sign that those people are nourishing you. So the next one does go in alignment with that, staying in contact with the important people in your life, parents, siblings, children, friends, coworkers, the list goes on. And of course, if you don't have a great relationship with your parents or your siblings or people you used to be friends with and the friendships are dwindling, know that like you are in no obligation to stay as close with those people as you may have once been, if it's impacting your emotional well-being. Positive affirmations, praising yourself is so powerful. One thing that I like to do is I say affirmations in the morning in the mirror, and I, look myself in the eye and say them. And when I started doing it, it felt really weird. I'm not going to lie, it felt kind of uncomfortable. But as I've been doing this now for a couple of years consistently, I've really noticed the positive impact. And so one of the ones that I say that I think, maybe you all will resonate with is, this is a day I've never lived before. So I will rejoice in every moment, since I know I will never live it again. And that's a really powerful one to say to yourself, to remind yourself to take time every day to cultivate joy and to tend to yourself. And if that means like extra rest, naps, bubble baths, sleeping, whatever, like you do what you need to do. The next one, loving yourself unconditionally. Sometimes it's hard to love ourselves unconditionally because we haven't necessarily shown ourselves love. Again, that goes back to our childhood. So if you feel like that's kind of awkward and hard for me, know you're not alone, and you can always reach out to me after this, and I'm more than happy to support you. Rereading your favorite books or movies, or watching movies, or maybe just like you have a genre of book or movie you really like, and then, focusing some of your time and energy there. Identifying your comforting activities, people, relationships, places, and then actively seeking them out. The big one, out of all the ones I think that you could take away from today, would be allowing yourself to cry. Giving ourselves permission to cry is so powerful. Crying actually is so beneficial for the body because it releases cortisol. When you cry, you release cortisol, and cortisol is a stress hormone. So you're literally releasing stress when you cry. So, next time the tears come, let them flow. Don't stop them. Finding things that make you laugh. I like to say laughter is the best medicine. I can't quote, or I can't coin that. I'm pretty sure Audrey Hepburn is quoted for saying that. Shout out to Audrey Hepburn. If you know Breakfast at Tiffany's, this is one of my favorite movies. And then expressing your outrage in social action letters, donation, protests, whatever. It should say marches. Apparently I'm having a lot of typos. And that one's really powerful because a lot of the times we can get so frustrated with the things going on in our lives, and know that there are ways that you can take restorative justice, so to speak, is what all of those really would fall under. Next would be physical self-care. So physical self-care is caring for your physical body by tuning into the messages that your body is signaling to you throughout the day and giving yourself permission to act on those signals. So what do I mean by that? Maybe your body, you feel really tired. You're like, oh my God, I just need to sleep. If you can give yourself permission to sleep, go to bed early, take a midday nap, whatever it is, you know, the more that you act upon what your body is telling you, the stronger your connection with your body will become. So just some examples of physical self-care. Obviously, exercising. I'm sure that's what we all think of when we think of physical self-care. And I want you to remember, like, exercising is what you want it to be. It doesn't have to be going for a run. I personally hate running. I don't have very good knees. It's never been enjoyable for me. So I practice yoga. That's why I became a yoga teacher. I love to dance. I love to go for walks. I love to swim. Like, there's so many ways that we can incorporate exercise into our daily lives. Eating healthy foods and nourishing your body accordingly. You know, it's important to remember that what is medicine for one person could be poison for the other. So, you know, an example would be for myself, I'm allergic to soy. So anytime I eat soy, I get extremely sick, like to the point where I can't walk. I'm in so much pain. So I wouldn't eat things with soy. But for some people, especially women who are not estrogen dominant, or like who lack a lot of estrogen in their bodies, soy is really good because soy has a lot of estrogen naturally. Getting a good quality sleep. That is so imperative. And it's not just like, I wrote this down, it's not just getting enough sleep, it's getting good quality sleep. So that might mean making sure that you're not on electronics before bed, right? You know, I try to not be on electronics at least 30 minutes before bed. And so for me, I like to read before bed. And there's an emotional self-care tool, reading, right? If you like to read, you know, it helps calm you down and get you into a more comfortable state to drift off into sleep. Practicing relaxation techniques, meditation, yoga, breath work, all really powerful. Abstaining from substance abuse. Of course, like some people like a glass of wine or whatever, that's totally understandable, but try not to do it in excess. Pursuing creative outlets, that could be writing, that could be music, that could be dance, singing, art like painting, drawing, collaging, scrapbooking. Really, the list goes on. There's so many ways that we can cultivate creativity in our lives, even cooking, right? Cooking is creative. Attending and engaging in therapy and your own healing. Guess what? You are doing physical self-care just by being here. So yay. Attending your healthcare appointments, of course, is huge. A lot of people will neglect their physical body by not going to the doctor because they think like they feel fine, but in reality, like, we just don't know. You know, that's sometimes what happens with when you have cancer. I know for me with my liver disease, you know, if I was diagnosed maybe 5 to 7 years ago, I wouldn't have had to have you know, my surgery back in October where I had a bunch of tumors removed. So you just don't know. And of course, taking your medication as prescribed. We take medication for a reason, whether it's prescription or it's vitamins or it's because your holistic health practitioner suggested it. There's reasons there, and that is really helping to nourish your body. Spiritual self-care. Now, this might be my favorite because, of course, I'm a spiritual life coach and I'm a divine healer. So I'm very connected to spirit. So spiritual self-care is any ritual or practice that we do to further our connection with our higher self. Your higher self is who we truly are as an individual. Your higher self is the real you. I put quotations because sometimes people are like, what? That doesn't make sense. But your higher self is the you that is dissociated from, not influenced by ego and fear, right? I like to think that, you know, we are spiritual beings having a human experience, and Deepak Chopra talks a lot about that. And I really resonate with that. So some examples of spiritual self-care. Making time for self-reflection. I think, when we're living, in this human experience, and our ego often is the one who's in the driver's seat, not our higher self, we're always thinking about the next thing. Okay, what do I have to do tomorrow? What do I have to get done? Where can I go? How can I better, blah, 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 the list goes on. We don't often sit down and reflect on how far we've come. Think about where you are in your journey, whether you're watching this live or you're watching the recording. Take time to reflect on how far you've come. You have gone through so much and you're still standing here shining like the bright light that you are. That is so powerful. You deserve to reflect on that, and you deserve to cherish yourself. I say this as a reminder for myself too. Spending time in and with nature. Nature is the reminder that there's something more than just this human experience. Nature is so powerful. So the more you can sit, on the grass, commune with the trees, be near water, mountains, whatever it is that you are close to, spend some time outside. Another big one is finding your spiritual connection or a spiritual community, right? Spirituality doesn't necessarily equal religion. I've never really been someone who was drawn to religion. I did go to church growing up. I do have religious family members, but when I finally came into connection with spirituality and kind of defining it as what made sense to me, I was able to feel comfortable with it and then find other people, other like-minded people who now I join in community with very often. And if you're like, oh my gosh, I don't have a spiritual community, again, you can reach out to me, please, please, please. I'm more than happy to, help guide you into any spaces that feel comfortable. Another big one is being open to inspiration. We never know when inspiration is going to hit. Sometimes it's like you're walking down the street and you're like, oh my gosh, I have to do this. That is inspiration. Be open to it. Cherishing your hope and your optimism. Every single one of you is so optimistic along your journeys. Yes, you have moments where it feels like too much. Yes, you have moments when you're like, why the heck is this happening to me? What did I do to deserve this? Trust me, you did nothing. You're amazing the way you are. And cancer can be a result of a lot of different factors, right? So continuously leaning into hope and optimism wherever you can on your journey, even if it's just a little bit every day, is going to lead you so far. Of course, gratitude. I like to think gratitude is the key to a joy-filled life. So be aware and have gratitude for the non-material aspects of your life. And what do I mean by that? Being able to see a sunrise or a sunset, spending time with the people you love, just enjoying your life as it is, even if you're going through so much. You're still alive, you're still here, you're still shining your light, and that is something to be grateful for. Another big one is trying not to always be the expert or the one in charge. That's where we have to relinquish some control. And as humans who are often driven by the ego, it's very hard to relinquish control because it's our nature to want to control everything. So the more we can take a step back and kind of just lean into faith a little more, that is a spiritual self-care. Identifying what's meaningful to you and just noticing its place in your life. Maybe something meaningful to you is how you connect with others. And so when you are connecting with someone else, you kind of can take a step back and be like, oh, right, this is something that's really important to me. Meditation is huge for spiritual self-care, and meditation can be, sitting there and being like, oh, it doesn't have to be. You could do guided meditations, maybe going for a walk is meditative for you. Dancing could be meditation. There's so many different ways. Prayer is a big one. And again, prayer doesn't have to be, sitting there with your hands together, eyes closed. I mean, it's how I was taught to pray, and it's still how I pray to this day. But prayer can be like, we talked about affirmations. Prayer can be writing yourself a love letter. You can make prayer whatever it is for you that makes sense. Chanting, humming, and singing, all really wonderful ways to connect with spirit, as well as chanting, humming, and singing tone your vagus nerve. And your vagus nerve controls your central nervous system as well as your autonomic nervous system. So when you do those activities, you help bring your vagus nerve into a ventral vagal state, which is also like where we experience joy, love, pleasure, connection. And I'll talk more about that in an upcoming session. We'll get really deep into the central nervous system and the autonomic nervous system and why it's so imperative to heal, but just a little teaser. And then reading or listening to inspiring literature, podcasts, documentaries, music, TV, anything that just really lifts you up, right? Like brings you to a higher vibration, so to speak. And then lastly, workplace and educational self-care. I managed to spell that right. It doesn't say word place. So good on me for that one. And whatever, it's okay. We all make mistakes. This is a reminder that you don't have to be perfect. So workplace or educational self-care is self-care that's exactly that, related to work or school. It includes practicing self-care at work or school, and then adopting these practices that are going to lead you to a healthy balance, right? It's meant to reduce overall stress regarding your job or your education. So these are just some small examples, but like taking a break during the workday. I put example lunch because I remember when I worked in addictions, it was so busy that I wouldn't actually take lunch for myself. I was given a lunch break. I was allowed to leave, there's other staff there, but I would often eat at my desk on my computer and then never actually get that break. And that's not good for ourselves, right? Taking time, taking breaks, chatting with your peers, chatting with your coworkers, it doesn't have to be purely work. And sometimes we need that like little chat with whoever to kind of maybe bring us more inspiration, help us see things from a different perspective, whatever the case may be. Making quiet time to complete tasks, homework, whatever you have to get done at work. I mean, I know for me, even now, like I'm my own boss. I don't have anyone to report to. And that can be a blessing, but that can also be a hindrance because sometimes I'll like procrastinate on things for so long and then I have to get it done like the night before. And then it reminds me like, oh my God, I used to do this in university. Why am I still playing this out? So often when I need to get a lot done or just get something, one or two tasks done, doesn't even have to be a lot, I'll make sure my phone's away. I'll turn off notifications on my laptop so I don't see like messages coming through, so I can focus, right? Sometimes I just got focus. Identifying your projects and tasks that are exciting and rewarding. Those are the ones where sometimes it's nice to either do first or do last. You'll figure out what works best for you, but it kind of gives you an extra little boost. Setting boundaries with your peers, your coworkers, right? Like maybe you have that one coworker who loves to talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and can't pick up on those like nonverbal cues of you like really focused with all your papers around you, like trying to get stuff done. It's okay to say, hey, blah, blah, blah. I really appreciate that you want to talk to me right now, but I really have to get this done. Like, can we catch up at lunch or can we catch up on the last half hour of our shift together? Whatever it may be, right? I don't think anytime I've ever done that, the person's been mad at me. I think they've been like, oh yeah, actually you're right. I should get to work. I should focus on my stuff. So you're going to help yourself and help them. Balancing your workload so nothing is too much. One thing that I used to do when I was in addictions, because we constantly had emails coming in, oh my God, so many emails. I would get like hundreds a day. And not all of them needed to be sent to me, but that was fine, right? That's just the way it is sometimes in our workplaces. But I would block out parts of my day where it would be like, let's say I started at 9 a.m. 9 to 10 a.m., I'd answer emails. And then I wouldn't answer emails again until after lunch and another hour. So I would break it up so that way I knew that those other points of my day, I didn't have to worry about all those other emails coming in or what I had to respond to. I was going to get to it. And that's also a boundary. Getting regular supervision or consultation, talking to your coworkers about things, talking to your boss, your supervisor, whoever the management, who's ever in charge, just to make sure you're on track. If you have questions, right? They want to see you succeed. And if you don't have a supportive boss or a supportive supervisor, you know, maybe there's someone else on your team who you work with that you can go to. Having a peer or work support group is also really good. You know, we're in this together. We don't have to do everything alone. And I think often sometimes you'll notice that your peers, your coworkers, whoever, are longing for that as well. They want that support just as much. And then of course, lastly, striving for balance. It can be really hard. We are conditioned by society to hustle. We are not taught that rest is healing medicine. So, you know, sometimes we push ourselves to the bitter end, and that can cause us to get sick. That can cause long-term illness and disease. So the more that we start striving for balance now, the better it is for our overall well-being in the long run. Okay, that was a lot. So if you have any questions, you can pop them in the chat or you can unmute yourself. And of course, if you're just like, okay, yeah, that was a lot of good information for me to reflect on, then I'm wonderful. And maybe a lot of that you already do, right? We're going to get into talking about that in our journal prompts. So this is something that I like to reflect on, and that I think is really helpful for anyone. So I call it my self-care today. And I used to print these out when I worked in addictions, and I worked in person with people. Now I mainly do virtual. And I had all of the residents that I worked with put it on their doors, and they found it to be really helpful. So I've continued to share it. So this first one, when I feel overwhelmed, I need to take a break. When we feel overwhelmed, that is our body telling us, whoa, I need to slow down. I need to take a break. And taking a break doesn't mean you're quitting, right? Taking a break is just that, you're taking a break. For example, today I had a really busy day. I had a lot that I had to get done before this call, before my other clients. And so normally I would like push myself, right? Like that's just what we're conditioned, like I talked about. But I said, hey, you know what? I can take a break. And what did I do? I read for an hour, you know, just sitting in my bed, reading my book, cuddling with my cat. And I work from home, so it's a little bit easier sometimes. But taking a break if you're at work could be going for a walk, maybe going to grab some tea or some coffee. The list goes on. When I feel stressed, I need to focus on relaxing. Stress is our body's way of saying, you need to slow down. Once again, you need to relax. And relaxing is so different for all of us, right? Relaxing could be reading a book, could be taking a nap, could be going for a walk, could be having a bath, could be having a shower. Like that is something that you get to decide what relaxing means to you. And again, it's not quitting. Maybe you're just relaxing for 5 minutes. Maybe you're taking a full day off. If you are, power to you. That's what I like. But you get to decide what that is. When I feel anxious, I need to practice healthy coping mechanisms or coping skills. And so that goes back to all of those examples of the different types of self-care for your emotional body, your physical body, your spiritual body, and your workplace and educational environments. When I feel sad, I need to practice self-compassion. And self-compassion can be as easy as bringing your hands over your heart, closing your eyes, and just taking some deep breaths. Like giving yourself permission to just be with what's coming up, to be with the sadness, right? That's that emotional self-care. When I feel angry, I need to find a positive outlet. And a positive outlet can be crying, could be writing a letter, getting your anger out. It could be talking with a trusted friend, a loved one, a counselor, a therapist. It could be drawing, it could be cooking, it could be exercising, right? Like there's so many ways that we can dispense that energy of anger so it doesn't get stuck inside us. When I feel drained, I need to rest my body, my mind, and my soul. And drained is when we just feel like burnt out, right? Like we're like, oh my gosh, I've been burning the candle at both ends. I've been doing so much. Like we are not meant to be on all the time. We are meant to rest and recover, right? So maybe that even just means like getting to bed earlier. You know, maybe you only sleep for 6 hours a night. Maybe you need to sleep for 8. You know, you're going through so much on your journey with having cancer. And you know, for me too, like with my chronic diseases, I need to sleep for at least 8 to 10 hours a night. And I used to be ashamed of that because there'd be people who'd be like, oh, I can get by on 4 hours sleep. I can get by on 6 hours sleep. That doesn't work for me. I end up getting sick. So I have to honor that. And so just reflect on what is going to help you rest your body, your mind, and your soul. When I feel broken, I need to practice being loving towards myself. That is powerful. And when I mean broken, I mean sometimes we just feel like, you know, when you're living with cancer, you're living with chronic illness or chronic disease, sometimes it can feel like we've done something wrong. Like our bodies are just not functioning the way that normal people's bodies do. But first of all, what is normal, right? And we are allowed to practice being loving towards ourselves. And that could be through positive affirmations, that could be through rest, that could be through exercise, that could be nourishing your body. Like there's that, again, it is up to you to decide what that means, but you are allowed to do that. And it's a practice, right? I put practice for a reason because it is a practice to love ourselves. We aren't taught that in school. When I feel upset, I need to find love and support. That's where, you know, your loved ones, your friends, your family, your partner, a counselor, anyone like that can come really in handy for helping you work through that upset, work through what's coming up. So that was a lot, but I promise you it really does help when we're able to recognize, okay, what self-care do I need today based on how we're feeling? So we're going to do our journal prompts and reflections together. So the first one is super, super simple. What does self-care mean to you? So, you know, I'll give you a minute or two. You can write in your journal what self-care means to you. And then if you want to unmute yourself or share in the chat, you're more than welcome. And we'll both do this together since it's just you and me, Carla. Okay. You want to share?
Yes.
Thank you.
So to me, self-care is listening to your body, do what makes us happy, allow ourselves to feel all the emotions. Doesn't matter if it's happiness, sadness, if you're feeling angry, which is something that I struggle a lot with. I don't like feeling anger. That's my least favorite feeling. Um, but also giving yourself credit to what you've overcome, especially when you're feeling down. And I think with us, a lot of times we feel, I guess, guilty because we're feeling sad. And we always say, well, there's people that have it worse than us, but we should also be, I guess, gentle with ourselves. And I mean, we're dealing with our own battles and it's our own struggles. They have their own things that they have to deal with. So we have to be gentle with that and just appreciate what we overcome and look forward to what we can still do. And it's okay
Oh,
not to be okay.
I love that. That's so beautiful. And you know, you're not alone. I've struggled with anger as well. It's because we were shamed, right? Growing up often that no, you're not allowed to be angry. Oh, exactly. Like you said, we compare, oh, people have it worse. They are the ones who are allowed to be angry. No, 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 no. So I like to think that our anger is sacred, right? Our anger is sacred, and when we allow ourselves, even if it's just like screaming in a pillow, I do that with my clients a lot. We like together in a pillow, let it out, right? You are going through so much and you're so strong, but that doesn't mean strong equals happy joy all the time, right? So that was just so beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for
Thank you.
sharing. My definition of self-care is really just allowing yourself the permission to tune into your body, which is something you already said. But, you know, for me, reconnecting with my body has been the most powerful thing on my healing journey because my illnesses made me want to disconnect. I didn't want to, be in touch with my body because my body was putting me through hell. Like I just felt like, how is this happening? But the more that I've been able to do that, the more I've been able to realize, okay, my body is just trying to keep me safe, right? It's just doing the best that it can. And that's all we can ask for in what we're going through, especially what you are going through and what all the other sisters are going through. I have the utmost respect and inspiration from all of you, really. So thank you for sharing. Okay, our next one. List 3 ways, and this is for each. So for emotional, physical, spiritual, and then workplace, educational, we know go together. You currently practice these different types of self-care. And they can be from what I was sharing, or they can be your own, right? So we'll give a couple of minutes for this one. Okay, well, you already know mine, so I'm excited to hear yours.
Okay, so for my emotional self-care, I like to watch my favorite movie, which is A Walk to Remember.
Oh,
That's
I
the
love
one.
that movie.
Yes. Even before I got cancer, I love the movie.
I know. Oh, you're making me like, I'm like, oh, I should watch that tonight.
Yes, and then I just love true crime, so I watch those. I cry a lot. That's
I love
something
it.
I've always done. I cry if I'm happy, I cry if I'm sad, I cry if I'm mad. So I do cry a lot. Probably if you ask me when was the last time I cried, it will be this morning.
I was gonna say we are kindred spirits.
And then I also like to spend time with my family. I have six, five nieces and one nephew, and I don't have kids of my own, but I just love spending time with them. So every weekend I go to my mom's because everyone's there, and that's what I do.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
For the physical, I like to dance. I'm a terrible dancer, but I'll dance.
Love it.
Yes. Um, I'll take naps. I take so many naps. My mom, they already know. If I don't reply, they're like, she's taking a nap.
Yep. Oh my
Um,
gosh, that sounds like my partner's, like my mother-in-law. She's always like that too. She's like, when I respond to her eventually, she's like, were you napping? Baby.
yes, so I love taking naps. And then also I like to get massages. I try to go get a massage, let the tension out. So I do that.
That's a
For
great
this,
one. I didn't think to put that on my list. So thank you for that reminder.
yes. For the spiritual, I pray. I pray every night. I pray in the mornings. And if I'm just like going about my day and I remember something, I'll pray. Uh, and I pray not just about the bad things, I prayed about the good things as well. So every night, what I'm feeling grateful for, I do that. Um, I listen to music that will make me happy. Especially when I first got diagnosed, I had a playlist of all the music that I will play, sing my heart out, cry. I know with one of our sisters, whenever she first got diagnosed, I share my playlist with her because that really helped me.
Oh, that's
Um,
beautiful.
I also like to journal. Lately, I've been really bad at writing down because usually I just write down whenever I'm feeling sad, but I need to remind myself to also write down when I'm feeling happy, when I'm feeling grateful.
Yeah, I love
And
that.
then for the workplace, I make sure I take a break. I used to be really bad at not taking a break. We'll go the whole day without taking a lunch. And my mom, she already knew. I would get out of work and she's like, you didn't take a lunch today. So now I'm making myself take a break. Also, whenever I'm feeling like I have a lot going on, I take a second to see exactly what do I need to do and just prioritize whatever is more important and focus on one thing at a time. Because I tend to multitask and sometimes we don't get anything done multitasking. And also, I guess with the workplace, I feel a lot better now because I got a new supervisor and he's also very supportive and he understands the importance of balanced work life and your life. So those are
Oh,
my
I'm happy to hear that. Well, good.
yes.
That's great. Oh, I love all of that. Thank you. Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
Okay, our next one. List 3 comforting activities or objects in your life. And I put a picture of a bath because you can clearly tell I like to have baths. Okay, let's hear them.
Well, I do love to take baths as well. So that's one of my activities. Listen to music. I don't think there's a day that I don't listen to music. I used to work like 5 minutes from work. I would still listen to at least one song before getting up. Since I wake up in the mornings, I listen to music. So I really enjoyed that. And then, well, he's not really an object, but my cat.
Aw.
He's very comforting. I have one, he's somewhere in here, but before him, I had another one. And actually, the first one I got is because I had really bad anxiety. And one day I had to leave work because I was really anxious. And my sister was like, they're giving away kitties, you want one? And I went and I got him, and he helped me a lot. His name was Fernando.
Oh,
He sadly
Fernando. Oh,
passed
that's,
away. Yeah,
I
he
love
sadly
that.
passed away like 3 years ago. But I've had my new cat, which he's an orange tabby, and he's terrible. His name is Reese's, and I've had him for 2 years now. So he's that's my comfort little human being. So
I love that. I think, and like people who've never had pets don't understand how comforting and loyal and loving they are. I totally agree. I have a cat here. I'm back visiting my family right now, and we have a family cat, and I missed him so much. I think when I go back to Edmonton to be with my partner, we're getting a cat. I'm not waiting, not waiting. So I totally agree. Those would probably, you said three of my favorites as well. As you know, bads. I love bads. Music, same thing. I grew up with music. So like, I remember when I'd be at my dad's, I knew he was awake because the minute he woke up, there was music playing, and it didn't matter if it was 7 in the morning, 8 in the morning, and I'm still sleeping. It's like on full volume, and just a beautiful way to start your day, right? And continue that energy. So I love all of that, and I totally resonate. So thank you.
you're welcome.
Okay, so in the next one, how do you care for your physical needs? And that's a broad question. So whatever comes up, whatever comes to mind.
Well, I would say naps. That's my main one. Whenever, especially when I'm feeling really tired, and even though if I have things to do, I'll be like, no, I need to take a nap first because my bad body's telling me that I need to rest. Also, going with the doctor. Even before I got sick, I think once I got insurance, I made sure I would go to my doctor at least every year. And that's something that I've been keeping even now. Even when I was going through my whole chemo and everything, I still kept going with my physician to get my annual ones with my OB/GYN, everything. So that's something. And I don't know, I need to find one more for the physical. I think I'm not that great on the physical side.
That's
I do want to start like at least exercising. That's something, even if it's just walking, like you said, not running, because I hate to run too as well. But walking, that's something that I want to start doing.
Yeah, and even if it's like 10 minutes, like we really, it doesn't matter how long it is. The fact is you're doing it, and that's powerful. So I love everything you said. And if you feel called to try yoga, know that, that's part of all of this too. So you're more than welcome to come to any of the yoga classes, or just watch the replays if you're like, I don't want to be there live, or it doesn't work in your schedule. So okay, next question. I think this is our second last one. What is meaningful to you in your life? So example, family, friends, sobriety, nutrition, education, career, the list goes on. List as many as feels best. Just allow yourself to automatically write that out. And then once you have that list, just kind of think, what is all that's place in your life, and how are you actively working to keep it there.
Okay, so um, number one is my family. And well, I guess mostly it's my mom and my sisters and my nieces. They're number one on my list. I've always been, I guess, really like a family person. It doesn't matter because I mean we all gonna have disagreements, so it doesn't matter to me. Family, it's always there. Also meaningful in my life are fur babies. I think they're even they're is as important as like a real person, I guess, because I mean they're human beings, and I think they're really really meaningful. Also, education, that's something that's meaningful to me. Be kind. I feel like it's really important to be kind to yourself and to others. I don't think you have to wait for them to be kind to you in order for you to be kind to them. So it's something you have to give, even if you don't always receive it. I just want to it's really meaningful for me to make people feel better and be the light whenever they're feeling like in a place lost and like they're feeling sad, depressed. I just always try to be that positive little happiness that they might have just like for 5 minutes. So I guess what I do to keep that in place in my life, I'm always visiting my family. We have a group chat and we text every day. In the mornings, we'll text good morning. Some of them wake up earlier than others, but we keep in contact all throughout the day. If I haven't talked to my mom, by the time I get off work, I'll give her a call and just to see how she's doing. Also with education, it's I recently applied to be back at school, so that's something that's really important for me. It helps with work because I'm already kind of getting the experience. I'm planning on going back for accounting, and I'm working as an accounting accounts payable person right now. So
wow.
Kind of getting the
Good.
same.
Oh my gosh, congratulations. I'm so
Thank
proud
you.
of you. That's amazing.
So that's what I'm how keeping that in life, and then to help other people, just always keeping a positive attitude. Even if I'm having a bad day, I won't show that and treat people bad just because I'm having a bad day. I'm always greeting them with a smile. I'm always happy to be there to help them. So I'm really bad at saying no. So that's that's what I try. I try my best to be what I would like to have in my life, I guess.
Yeah, you know, we all of us could learn from you, my dear. That is so beautiful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, and then I think this is our last question of give an example of your ideal break during your work day or your school day, since you'll be going back to school soon.
Okay, I think a deal break will be just be able to have peace for one day. Not don't worry about what's going outside with your family, with work. No social media or anything like that. Just be with yourself and nature. I guess just enjoying the little things that sometimes we forget, like getting the sun in our skin, feeling the wind, be able to like touch, smell flowers and things like that. So that would be my ideal break.
I love that. Oh, I think that's so beautiful. And I mean, hopefully people watching the replay are like, oh my gosh, yes, I need to just be, because we're so focused on doing that we forget that that can be such a simple pleasure. So thank you for that reminder for myself as well.
You're welcome.
Okay, so we're gonna do our meditation. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. There we go. We're a little over on time. I'm so sorry, I didn't realize. The meditation's about less than 10 minutes and then we'll be wrapping up.
Okay.
So if you want to just, wiggle in your seat, shake anything out before we get still, I always like to do that. And then just when you feel ready, you can bring your hands, just rest them on your lap. If you're looking for some more grounding, just have your palms facing down. And if you are looking for some more energy, you can have your palms facing up. And then when you feel ready, you can close your eyes. And just take a couple of deep inhales and exhales, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. A couple more just like that on your own. And then just allow your breath to return to its natural rhythm, in through the nose and out through the nose. And if your mind begins to wander throughout this meditation, just come back to your breath. Your breath is your anchor. It is always with you. Now I invite you to bring a place that you loved as a kid to your mind's eye. Maybe this was a park by your house, your grandparents' home, family vacation, your school, whatever is coming to your mind right now, just honor it. Doesn't matter if you were 5, 10, 15. And as this place comes into your mind, begin to tune into the sounds of where you are right now. Can you hear music playing? Can you hear birds singing their songs or the wind rustling through the trees? Can you hear laughter? And begin to notice what you can see here. From vantage point to vantage point, what is in your view? Really allow yourself to come into this moment, this memory, using your 5 senses. Noticing if there are any smells or any tastes. And then noticing if you can feel anything here. What is touching you, or what are you touching? Maybe you can feel grass tickling your feet or the sun kissing your face. Again, really just allowing your 5 senses to bring you deeper into this moment. And as you check in, as your younger self, little you, whatever age you are, let this younger version of you explore. If you weren't already walking around in this beautiful area, this memory, let yourself explore. go down a path or swing on the swings. Let this younger version of you take you on a journey. Begin to check in with how you feel. And how does it feel to be curious? How does it feel to connect with the younger version of yourself? Maybe it feels a little bit weird. That's okay. Maybe it feels amazing. Maybe it brings up emotion. Whatever is coming up for you, know that it is okay. And continue to focus on your breath, your inhales and your exhales, bringing you deeper into this moment. And then now, as if you're stepping outside of yourself, instead of being this younger version of you, take a step back and see little you standing in front of adult you. I want you to take the hands of younger you. Notice how they feel in yours. What is something that little you needs to hear right now from adult you? What can you repeat to this younger version of yourself to remind them that they are safe, supported, and free? Repeat this to your younger self 3 times. This beautiful message of acceptance, appreciation, and love. Maybe you repeat, you are worthy of love. So then on your next 3 breaths, you repeat to yourself, I am worthy of love. Validate that the younger version of you deserves and is worthy of whatever you need in this moment. And then repeat it to yourself, your adult self, you in this present moment, knowing that you deserve this too. And then I invite you to keep in mind how you can mother yourself. Look your younger self in the eyes with a smile and see little you smiling back. Repeat how you are going to mother yourself. Let this younger version of you know that they are safe because of you. Once you've let this little version of you know what they need to know, maybe you see a smile on their face. Maybe there are tears. Know that little you hears you. And before you say, see you later to your younger self, because it is never a goodbye, give your younger self a big hug. Let them know you will come back and mother them whenever they need, without judgment, with only curiosity and compassion. On your next inhale, bring both of your hands over your heart and a soft smile to your face. Take 5 really deep, long inhales and exhales into your heart space, Anahata, your heart chakra. Saying thank you to your younger self for showing up, communicating, and sharing with you. Saying thank you to present day adult you for holding space and keeping little you safe. keeping you safe. And then if it feels okay to do so, you can bring your hands to prayer, Anjali Mudra, in front of your heart center, bowing your head if that feels comfortable. The divine light in me honors the divine light in you. Namaste.